Hello, my name is Milena Carvalho and I am an LAII PhD Fellow. Thanks in large part to the LAII, I'm currently in Portugal to work on the data collection phase of my dissertation. In this video, I'll be discussing some of my past research and describe the goals of my dissertation research since I'm only in the beginning phases of data collection. Before I begin, I wanted to extend my sincerest gratitude to the LAII who have been fundamental in funding this dissertation and who just renewed my PhD fellowship for a second year. The title of this presentation is The Role of Subsistence in Neanderthal Extinction. We now know that Neanderthals and modern humans had many similarities in anatomy, technology, behavior, and we also share DNA. However, there are still some clear differences between the two groups. Neanderthals survived from about 400,000 to somewhere between 30 or 40,000 years ago in Europe, Asia, and the Levant. They are associated with what we call the Middle Paleolithic period. Modern humans, on the other hand, evolved in Africa, dispersed to every continent, and are still around. The oldest modern human remains recovered so far are 300,000 years old from northern Africa. We also know that the two groups overlapped and interacted in Europe and Asia. Moderns are associated with the Upper Paleolithic, a period where modern humans dominated Europe. As you can see, there are clear anatomical differences between these two groups. However, with every decade that passes, the gap between Neanderthals and modern human behavior decreases. Neanderthals were not that different, in fact, from modern humans. Despite the proximity modern humans have to Neanderthals, why is it that Neanderthals as a genetically distinct population disappeared while modern humans are still around? This broad research topic has been the subject of over a century of debate, but as research continues to progress, we often find that more questions are raised than answered. The geographic range of Neanderthals was extensive, spanning the westernmost reaches of Europe into parts of Asia and the Levant. During their 350,000 years of survival, Neanderthals were faced with dramatic climate and environmental fluctuations, including severe cold episodes and the growing and receding of ice sheets. In thinking about this massive geographic range, it's important to note that the Middle to Upper Paleolithic transition, the time period where a Neanderthal-dominated Europe is replaced by a modern human-dominated Europe, did not occur uniformly across time and space, but was rather a mosaic of change, meaning that different regions experienced the transition during different times, likely by different processes. Thus, to really understand what happened during the Middle to Upper Paleolithic transition in all of Europe, we must know what happened locally and regionally before taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture. The Iberian Peninsula is an ideal region to study this transition for a few reasons. First, Iberia is a peninsula, meaning that there are limited routes of dispersal and is a somewhat confined geographical unit. Second, the Iberian Peninsula is considered a refugium during times of glaciation. And third, the Iberian Peninsula has been considered the location of late Neanderthal survival. In other words, the place of the last Neanderthals in Europe. Many models have been proposed for the replacement of Neanderthals by modern humans in Iberia, but I will focus on one in this presentation: diet choice. One way in which questions of Neanderthal extinction have been addressed is through studying the diets of modern humans and Neanderthals using zooarchaeology, the study of the animal remains that are recovered from archaeological sites. A prominent model used to explain how Neanderthals were replaced by modern humans in this region and elsewhere in Europe revolve around the idea that subsistence differences between the two groups may have contributed to the Neanderthal extinction. It was long believed that Neanderthals had limited hunting capabilities and preferences, and that modern humans flourished or even had a competitive advantage over Neanderthals because they expanded the breadth of their diets by including more variety in the species of wild plants and animals that they exploited. Broad-spectrum foraging strategies that include large and dangerous game as well as small game suggest behaviors such as cooperation, the creation of special technologies like nets or traps, or responses to demographic pressure. And this credit was only given to modern humans until relatively recently. The exploitation of rabbits, birds, and other sessile small prey items may attest to an important shift in foraging adaptation. Acquisition of fast-moving species requires greater, more complex skill sets, cooperation, and technology maintenance efforts due to animals like rabbits and birds' use of speed as a means of escape. The exploitation of rabbits and other small prey items may therefore provide insight into the practice of complex foraging behavior as aspects of the overall adaptations of different hominin populations. However, evidence of Neanderthal exploitation of small prey has been identified in southern Europe, and the evidence continues to build. Studies of the wild European rabbit are prominent in analyses of diet choice of both hominins in Iberia. Zooarchaeological assemblages from Iberian sites suggest that modern humans regularly and systematically exploited rabbits as a part of their diet. Many Upper Paleolithic sites where systematic consumption of rabbits occurred produced cut marks on bone and rabbit bone cylinders similar to these, believed to be a byproduct of marrow extraction techniques to maximize calories extracted from a single carcass. While modern human exploitation of the European rabbit is well established, the importance of the rabbit as a prey item in the Neanderthal diet has been a matter of debate. For my master's research, I analyzed a small mammal assemblage from a Portuguese cave site called Gruta Nova da Columbeira. This site is the first in Portugal where Neanderthal remains, and not just their stone tools, were recovered. I was able to demonstrate through zooarchaeological and taphonomic analysis that Neanderthals at Gruta Nova did consume small game, adding this to a long list of sites with evidence of small game hunting before modern humans, going back 400,000 years. However, the scale of small game consumption by Neanderthals compared to modern humans is quite low. Why is this? This is one of the aims of my dissertation research. My research questions include, did Neanderthals and modern humans have different hunting strategies? Did the inclusion of small game in the diet of Neanderthals and modern humans affect their survivability? And why does the intensity of small game hunting differ between the two groups? I will test this subsistence model and answer these questions through zooarchaeological and taphonomic analyses of the faunal remains from a cave site called Lapa do Picareiro, located in central Portugal. Lapa do Picareiro is situated about 100 kilometers northeast of Lisbon in a limestone-rich region called the Portuguese Extremadura. The Extremadura is home to numerous well-known Paleolithic sites such as Gruta Nova da Columbeira, Gruta do Caldeirão, and Gruta da Figueira Brava. Here we see a depiction of the cave, which essentially acts as a sediment trap. Here's a picture from the other side of the valley showing the high elevation of the cave. Picareiro currently is the highest altitude Paleolithic site in Portugal. Here's another picture taken by a drone of the cave entrance showing the back dirt piles representing sediments that have been removed from the cave. This is a Nearly all of the levels at Picareiro contain archaeological and/or paleoecological remains. The assemblages are particularly rich in fauna, and this is perhaps the largest zooarchaeological assemblage in Portugal. The use of modern excavation methods, high degree of bone preservation, large nature of the zooarchaeological assemblage, well-established chronology, and stratigraphic integrity of distinct human occupations spanning the full Middle to Upper Paleolithic transition all make Picareiro the ideal site to study the subsistence strategies, particularly in the context of small game hunting, of Neanderthals and modern humans, and how these may have affected the Neanderthal extinction and emergence of modern humans on the peninsula. I hope to be finished with a zooarchaeological analysis by the end of this calendar year or by the spring of 2021 at the latest. In next year's colloquium, I hope to share with you the preliminary results of this study. Thank you again to the LAII for the continued support of my dissertation research. Stay safe and healthy, and muito obrigada. Terrestrial LiDAR fly-through that we have for the cave, and it gives you a good idea of the size and shape of the cavity. This cave contains well-stratified sedimentary deposits that are densely rich in fauna with varying densities of lithics or stone tools. Excavations have yielded large amounts of animal bone, stone tool artifacts, and charcoal reflecting human occupations in the Middle Paleolithic, Upper Paleolithic, and beyond. This site is unique because it has evidence of a very early modern human occupation and does not support the idea of late Neanderthal survival in southern Iberia, thus providing clues about the diet choices of some of the earliest modern humans that arrived in Iberia.